Welcome back to my channel. I'm about to go do a run right now, and some of you might remember that I made a goal of running 3 times a week, and I'm in the middle of my 4th week of running consistently. So I thought I would share my experience so far. This is coming from somebody who is not an expert at running. This is not my area of expertise. So this experience will be coming from somebody who does not consider themselves a runner. I think that sometimes when you get tips from people who are runners, they make it seem like it's easy or that it's fun. And it's not to say that running isn't ever easy or that it's not ever fun. I just don't know if those would be the first 2 words I would use to describe it, at least not in the beginning. So purely my experience over these last 4 weeks, I do feel like I've improved. And so I'll just share kind of the things that I feel like helped me. I've gotten some great tips from runners who follow me, so I'll share some of those. So I'm just gonna kind of share how running's going for me, but first I have to do today's run. Okay, and after my run, I just got back. It was an interval run and it didn't feel that easy. It should have been a little bit easier than I think it felt like. But anyways, I've been trying to have a protein shake as soon as I get back in from my run, just trying to get in the habit of it. It allows me to make sure I'm getting enough protein in my day. I've been doing half milk, half water, whatever your milk of choice is. I just find that milk is creamier, so I think it makes the protein taste better, but then I don't like how thick it is if you just use all milk, so then I do half water to make sure that it's not so thick. But anyways, I'm really enjoying this protein. It is the everything but the cauldron. I don't know if you saw it release, let me show you. I've actually been really liking this flavor, but just trying to get into that habit of coming back in from the run, having a protein shake right away. That way I am getting enough protein in my day. But as soon as I finish this, I'm gonna give you my thoughts on running so far. Okay, run is done, protein's done, shower's done. I'm gonna talk about running, but I'm also gonna make a little snack for the week. So I'm gonna multitask because why not make it a little bit harder? So I've made these before not using a mix. You can totally use this with just your own ingredients that you probably already have at home. So oats, any kind of nut butter, honey, chocolate chips, and I think that's it. I've posted this on my Instagram before. They're very easy. They're great for a snack, like I said, when you're just like want something on the go, or even as just like if you just want something sweet. But I saw this mix at Target. If I'm being honest, I don't think I'll buy the mix again because I literally have the ingredients in the pantry, but this is just a combination. Oh, that's what I'm missing, protein powder. You also need protein powder in the 4 ingredients that I listed. The 5th ingredient is protein powder. You're gonna want that part. So I think this mix is just already like the oats, the protein powder, and the chocolate chips, just already like convenient in a bag, but I don't need that. I really don't need that. These are so easy to make without that. But nonetheless, I'm gonna make this mix since I have it on hand, but you can totally make this with just all the separate ingredients. I'm gonna use almond butter as my nut butter of choice, and then I'm also gonna use some maple syrup instead of honey because I don't have any honey. I really liked these last time I made them a few weeks ago. Nick really liked these. They're kind of just like no-bake cookies, but you have protein in them. I will suggest though, if you're making these like without the mix and you're using your own protein powder, ALANI's Frosted Flurry, cookies and cream flavored, that one was good. So I really suggest that one. Okay, let's hope I don't mess this up as I'm trying to multitask talking about running, but first I'm gonna add in the mix. Okay, so my goals with running when I started this 4 weeks ago was that I wanted to not walk while I ran. Well, I didn't want to stop to walk during my run. And then I also wanted to focus on my breathing. That was something that I've always struggled with running, is that I start huffing and puffing, and then it basically feels like you're drowning, like you can't get enough air, and then by the time you're done with, let's say, a mile, you don't even understand how you could run any longer than that because your chest and your lungs hurt so badly. But I realized that I was totally not breathing correctly. So my 2 very simple goals for this month as I was starting to run was just to improve and work on my breathing and to not walk. Okay, so I need to mix up my almond butter, and I saw Whitney Simmons do this forever ago now, and I'm gonna try not to get it all over myself, but basically you're just gonna take your electric mixer and it should get it mixed up. Okay, so 3 things have happened since I started mixing this almond butter. Number 1, my hair is up now because when my hair is clean, it won't do anything. It just lays flat on my head unless I style it, but I'm not gonna style it if I'm not doing anything because then that's just a waste of putting heat on my hair. So then my hair goes up and it happens every single time. If you have like finer, thin hair, then I feel like you understand because it just lays flat on my head. So my hair is now up. Number 2, I was mixing the almond butter and I saw little bits of almond in there and I'm like, what's going on? I got crunchy almond butter, which I think will actually be fine for these like protein balls because you'll have like little bits of almond, but not for just like eating almond butter and putting it on your toast. Creamy always. And then number 3, I can't remember what number 3 was, but I just know that I'm gonna go on so many tangents while talking about running, but I'm gonna really try to make sure that that doesn't happen. So my 2 goals, like I mentioned, were working on my breathing and not walking. I will say that I really do feel like my breathing has improved because, like I mentioned earlier, I did get some amazing tips from some runners who follow me, and I realized that I was not breathing right or properly. I realized I needed to breathe through my nose and out through my mouth, and that has helped drastically, like huge. Something else another runner told me was that, or I think their coach told them when they ran cross country, was that they should not listen to music, so at least while they're working on figuring out their breathing, because you want to kind of be, at least what she said was, in sync kind of with your steps. So you can take 3 steps and you inhale, 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 and then exhale, exhale, exhale. And so I have not been running with music this entire time because I'm really, really, really focusing on my breathing. Do I think I probably need to do that forever? Probably not, but right now I'm really focusing on it. I know that sounds crazy, but I think it's just what I need to do right now so that I can focus on my breathing. And I do want to mention that this is all 100% just my experience and the tips that are helping me. This is in no way like professional running advice or coming from a running coach. So I'm definitely not saying any of this to like prescribe you anything for your running. I am simply just saying what has been helping me. And when I say I'm not a good runner, I really do mean it in the sense that it's just not something I'm naturally good at. I feel like some people are just naturally good at running, and that is not me. Like, that is just not me. My sport didn't require running. I mean, cheerleading did require endurance. Like, you have to be able to go for like the 2 minutes and 30 seconds that a routine is, but it didn't require like the actual physical act of running. At least not as consistently as, let's say, like maybe a soccer player, or of course somebody who does track or like cross country. So it's just not something that I'm naturally good at or have even practiced that much in my entire life. So this is purely like my own just experience with running these last 4 weeks. I'm also not even sure how long I'll continue it for. I'm not sure if when it starts raining, if that's something I'm gonna be interested in. I do luckily have a great treadmill in the garage, but running on the treadmill like long distance is pretty tough. I do like the treadmill for sprints. That's my favorite thing to use it for. So anyways, I'm not even sure how long I'll be doing this for. But I just wanted to clarify that this is 100% just my own personal experience and what I'm finding that's helping me. It says to mix this with your hands, and my hands are gonna be a mess. Let me get the tray. Okay, I got the tray and I added a little bit of water because it says you can do that if you just need some more moisture. And we're gonna see how this goes. So I did an Instagram Q&A, and that's where a lot of running questions came up. And like I said, this is not my area of expertise, so I don't have any answers for like the perfect running form or anything like that. But I can give just, like I said, my experience as to just how these last 4 weeks have gone, just because I think it is different when you talk to a runner. They have a different experience with running, in my opinion. Sometimes it just feels like when you're talking to a runner that they're so experienced and it's so easy for them that they forget how hard it can be for other people. So anyways, I just wanted to give my experience from somebody who really does have a hard time running. And something that I've also been working on is just stop saying that I'm not a runner. I am saying that in this video just because I'm trying to get the point across that this is not like something I'm naturally good at, but I actually have stopped saying that for the most part, like in my daily life, because what I just realized was, what was the point of not calling myself a runner? I'm not somebody who's like competing in anything, so I'm no professional here or whatever. But I mean, I do physically run, so I guess that does make me a runner. So anyways, I'm gonna stop saying that. So my camera died, and what I did was put this in the fridge for like 10 minutes, just so that it would not be so sticky. I think I added a little too much water, so I put it all in the fridge just to kind of firm it up a little bit. But I lost my train of thought. But I think what I was saying was that I'm not gonna say that I'm not a runner anymore, because I am literally running, which in that case just makes me a runner. So something else that has kind of helped me with my just kind of getting better at running is running for time instead of distance. I've always done like, I'm gonna run a mile, I'm gonna run a mile and a half, pick a, you know, however many miles you're gonna run, and then go for that. But what I found that I was doing was making myself, well, I was putting pressure on myself by putting a time in my head before I started the run. Then I'd be kind of upset if I didn't hit that time. And don't get me wrong, I think that's a great idea. You probably should have a goal in your head of like how fast you're wanting to run, especially if you're trying to like progressive overload with your run and do a little bit better each week. But not in the beginning, like not while I'm just trying to get better at running, because then in that case, I'm just discouraging myself from running to begin with. When right now, all I'm trying to do is just get better at running. I shouldn't put so much pressure on myself. Now, I like a challenge, which is like the whole reason that I'm running, is that I like how hard it is for me. And so I like having that number to go towards to just make sure I'm pushing myself. But I just don't think it was the right thing to do right at the beginning, because like I said, I was just putting this unnecessary pressure on myself. So what I started doing was running for time instead. So setting, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. 30 minutes is actually the furthest that I've gone so far. After 30 minutes with no music, that's a struggle. It is hard to run for more than 30 minutes in silence. And even if you're running with like a running partner and you still don't have music, I mean, it's still silence. I do think that I'm at a point with my breathing where I can listen to music and still focus on my breathing. And I do feel like it's starting to become a little bit more natural. So I think I'll run with music soon. But my point was that try running for time instead. I feel like it just takes the pressure off a little bit. And guess what? You get however far you get in 25 minutes. So just to kind of recap, since I think I've lost my train of thought at least 5 times during the middle of this, is the 2 goals that I started out with were to work on my breathing and to not walk. And to kind of help me, I've not listened to music. I've started to run for time instead of distance. And then I got some great tips from runners, like I said, where I should be breathing in through my nose and out through my mouth, which has drastically helped my breathing. And all I can say about getting better with running is to just keep doing it. Because in the beginning, it's so freaking hard. It's so freaking hard. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure some people feel that way about weights too. It's just something that I've been doing for so long that, strength training just feels like second nature, but running feels like completely foreign to me. And when somebody, like recently, as I've been running, has asked me how to get better at running, all I can say is that you just have to start. Like, you just have to do it. Put on your shoes and you go outside for a run. You run for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever time you want to set for yourself. And you just have to start. This is getting very sticky again, and it is completely stuck to my fingers, and I cannot form the ball that I need to form. Okay, so those are now in the fridge, and they're gonna be in the fridge for a couple of hours. And like I said, they're great for snacks, they're great for a dessert. They're basically a no-bake cookie, but with protein in it. They're a great like snack to whip up for the week. But what I'm gonna do is try to wrap up my thoughts on running, since I feel like while I was making those protein balls, my brain went 10 different directions, so I don't even really know where I'm at right now. So I'm gonna try to wrap up my thoughts on it. But I'm at this point now where I have to keep reminding myself. It's really funny because I get these messages all the time about people 4 weeks into lifting weights or on their weight loss journey or whatever it is. I'll get a message that they are a month in and they are confused as to why they aren't really seeing anything happen. Or they just feel like, they're 4 weeks in, they should be seeing something more happen. And that's exactly where I'm at with running right now, where I feel like, okay, I'm 4 weeks in, why am I not drastically better? I am better in the sense that I can now breathe while I run, which is huge. How could I even think about getting better with running if I literally can't breathe while I'm running? So that's already huge. I can now breathe while I run. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm slow. Like, why am I not getting faster on the days where I run a mile? I mean, I'm getting a little bit faster. I'm improving slowly. But in my mind, I'm like, why am I not? I one time ran a really, really fast mile last year. How come I'm not anywhere near that mile? Anyways, my point is that I hear these and see these messages all the time, and I'm now doing that exact same thing to myself. Now I have to remind myself, just like I would remind any other person that came to me with this, progress takes so much time. So I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and then the next step is I'm gonna buy a good pair of running shoes. That is the next step of improving my running, is to get fitted for a running shoe. I also think that I will add in music here soon. I really, really do recommend, if you are just starting out on running or you're really wanting to work on the breathing, like maybe that's your issue, just kind of like mine was, don't run with music. Just focus on inhaling and exhaling, and it might not be super fun, but I do guarantee you that you'll get better at it, and that is kind of the whole point. But I think I'm ready to add in music. So my next step, shoes, adding some music, which might make the whole process a little bit more fun. And then I did want to touch on food at the end of this, just because I am running 3 times a week. We still walk the dogs every single day. I'm still working out my normal routine. A new workout program comes to the app October 31st, and I'm going to be starting that with all of you guys. So workouts are the same, walking the dog still, and then I've now added 3 runs in my week. So I really just wanted to talk about food, because I am drastically hungrier on days where I run. So I wanted to touch on what I'm doing food-wise, because I'm not running to change my body in any way. I'm running just because running is very challenging for me. So number one, I really enjoy the challenge, but number 2, I want to be like a well-rounded, healthy person. And my cardio was not it. Now, we walk the dogs every single day, and up hills and all of that, and that's great. I could walk, and I did that every day. So I was doing cardio every single day because the girls need walks. But my running cardio, my endurance was not great. Not great at all. I'm not saying that everyone needs to run, because they absolutely don't. Some people like to swim or bike or do a different form of cardio. I just felt like I was really lacking in that area. So I want to be able to lift weights, and I want to be able to run a mile whenever I want to run a mile, and it be relatively easy for me and not feel like it's the absolute hardest thing I've ever done. So with that being said, I am making sure to listen to my body, and when I am hungrier, I'm eating more. It's literally as simple as that. I'm not tracking macros, I'm not counting calories, I'm not doing any of that. But when I am hungrier than what I feel is my usual, my normal, my base, I'm just eating more. So basically, on the days where I'm hungrier, I'm just eating more. It's really as simple as that, because I'm not tracking macros or counting calories. I'm just making sure that I'm eating complex carbs, foods that are satiating for me. I'm basically just listening to my body. So I wanted to touch on the food, just because that's one of the number 1 things I've noticed with running so far. I haven't noticed anything like physically, because I'm really not keeping like that close attention to my body, but I have noticed my hungrier on running days, and I don't want to get injured. Like, I want to keep running, so I want to make sure that I'm like fueling my body so that I can keep going. So that was just a little food side note, just because anytime you add a new physical activity to your normal routine, you got to listen to your body. And I always think it's just a good little PSA to listen to your body. My body was telling me I need more food, so that's what I'm doing. So like I predicted, I was all over the place. My train of thought was all over. I knew that would happen with making the protein balls and trying to multitask, but if you're a runner, leave any tips that you have, because you might think that they are the most simple tip, but I guarantee it's not something that we've thought about before. So leave any tips that you have. Or if you are like me and you're just trying to get better at running, you're trying to get into running, let me know too. Let me know if you're in the same boat as I am of just trying to get better at running. I'll continue to run as long as I enjoy it. I've talked about this a million times. This goes with strength training too. There's no sense in doing workouts that you don't like. If you don't like running, there's like a million other things you could choose to do. So as long as I'm still, enjoying the endorphins and everything that comes with running, I'm gonna continue to do it. So we'll see how long that ends up being. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos.